Christian Encarnacion-Strand.
So Christian was drafted in the 4th round, pick number 128 overall in the 2021 draft. He's 6 foot, 224 pounds. He's a bulky guy. He came out of Oklahoma State. In 2021, he was affiliated with the single A ball club for the Cincinnati Reds. He had 87 at bats. He hit 391, OBP 424, slugged 598, 4 home runs and 2 stolen bases, just 87 at bats. But in 2022, the fun started for Christian, and he had 484 at bats over 2 different levels. He had A+ league, and then he got into AA. He batted .304 over 484 at bats. He had a on-base percentage of .368, a slugging percentage of .587, and he hit 32 home runs with 8 stolen bags. Now, the 8 stolen bags are just kind of a little cherry. He might have a little bit of speed. It's not going to be a huge part of his game, but man, those home runs came in bunches, and he had 114 RBIs across 484 bats. Big deal. He did strike out 137 times. Little bit of concern there. It's getting into that realm of calm it down, bud. What do you got on Christian?
I mean, he's a slugger.
Yeah.
For starters, I want to give a little bit of love to one industry folk on this one. Drew Wheeler. I read an article that he wrote at the beginning of last season, and he called out Christian Encarnacion-Strand. And I still was kind of like, I'm not sure about this guy quite yet. And he's made a believer out of me. This guy's a slugger.
Yeah.
He's a slugger. He hits the ball hard, and he's got a track record for doing that, stretching back to last season, stretching back to his time with Oklahoma State. He's a slugger. He's slugged everywhere he has been. Props to you, Drew Wheeler, for picking this guy out. You found an undervalued talent. And this was an acquisition of the Reds last year. And I want to point this out because the Reds are finally giving me something to be excited about. Those of you that don't know, I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan. So they're finally, for the first time in my adult life, I feel like they're finally stocking up on some young talent. And I'm actually interested in these guys that are coming up. I'm just happy that the Reds finally recognize that they're not going anywhere and they're buying some young talent.
Compile some talent.
This is what they've needed to do for probably at least 2 decades.
Yeah.
Christian Encarnacion-Strand is one of those guys. He's a slugger. He can hit the ball. He hit 32 home runs this year. The strikeout rate is high.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't walk a lot. He's swinging for the fences.
He's connecting.
He's connecting at a very strong rate. These are his peak projections. I'll let them speak for themselves. 269 batting average, 324 OBP, 484 slugging percentage, 28 home runs. That seems to me like a player you want on your team. He gets a comp to Jeff Jenkins. Do you remember Jeff Jenkins?
I think so.
Milwaukee Brewers, and he played a lot like what I just described for Christian Encarnacion-Strand. He hit a lot of home runs. He didn't walk a lot. He struck out at a pretty decent clip. He's not Joey Gallo, but he had seasons where he struck out 150 plus times. A lot of 20 plus home run seasons. I remember this guy pretty distinctly. So he played 11 years with the Brewers. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years where he hit over 20 home runs. That's a pretty good career. He topped out at 34 in 2000 when he was 25 years old, but he slugged 588 that year too. It's a pretty good season.
Had an all-star game appearance 2003.
But he was just like a steady middle of the order bat for him, for a long time. for a long time. That season in 2000, that's a really good season. The slash line was 303 batting average, 360 OBP, 588 slugging percentage. That sounds a lot like what we're seeing from Christian Encarnacion-Strand right now. Hey, by the way, I'm available if you want to hire me as your GM, Cincinnati Reds. I can. I'm just saying, I know how this works. I've built some fantasy baseball dynasties that have been pretty successful. So
if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and of course, visit our website, scoutthestatline.com for more.